Hello everybody and welcome back to Cooking and Kids. In this episode, I'm taking you to green fields of Serbia and Republic of Srpska. I want to show you the village where I grew up and to introduce you to a way of life that continues to endure despite all the modern technology. Staying close to and being engaged with nature is very important around here. The love for growing fruits, flowers, and vegetables among Slavic people is deeply rooted in cultural traditions, their historical practices, and a strong connection to nature. It reflects the values of self-sufficiency, family bonding, and environmental awareness, contributing to rich and enduring tradition of gardening in Slavic cultures. I'm a firm believer that gardening can help us all, from individuals to a global level. One of my charities program called Little Sprouts is specifically designed to do exactly that. So each year, we donate thousands and thousands of free fruit and vegetable seeds to local or public libraries. Thanks to my Slavic culture, my love for gardening and growing my own fruit and vegetables and flowers is deeply rooted in me. And I loved bringing my kids back to my hometown of Međaše to introduce them to the same way of life. Growing food is a one thing, but growing flowers is a whole nother matter. This is almost a matter of pride because a beautiful flower garden says a lot. And as you can see, my sister Ranka takes her flower growing quite seriously. During the old times, grandmas would teach their grandsons to look at the girl's garden before they decide to marry them. Summer is a great time to grow flowers, but we are actually here because it's a harvest time in Međaše. So my brother and I are heading out to fields to check if the wheat is ready for harvest. Fewer and fewer people in the world today get to experience a direct contact with the food they eat and the nature around them like my brother does. Unlike in America, among Serbia's 631,000 agricultural holdings, 99.5% are family farms, and 17% of those are held by women. Small family farms between 2 to 10 acres make up the largest share of the country's farms. Serbia's territory is about 78,000 square kilometers, and its population is roughly around 7 million people. This is just one of the fields our family tended to when I was a kid. Today, all the hard work is handled by a heavy machinery. The memories of hard and grueling work on the farms were quickly pushed away as soon as the harvest time arrived. I'm thrilled to be home at this time of the year to join my brother and his son for this year's wheat harvest. So kids, I'm purposely taking you with me on this journey so that you all can witness the wheat harvest, and after this we're going to take our wheat to a local mill where we're going to turn the wheat into a flour, which we later use to bake bread. And by the way, these trees here, these are apples and pears, and this is one of our favorite family orchards. As mentioned at the beginning of the episode, the average farm size in Serbia is about 10 acres. Once the harvest season starts, a number of people will need their parcels harvested, which means we're going to have to move our equipment a few times throughout the day. Despite the modern equipment, the harvest time is still very much a community event. People help each other to make sure wheat is harvested as promptly as possible to avoid bad weather. This is also a great time of the year to pass the skill of the harvest from fathers to sons, like my brother is doing with his son. vast majority of families in Serbia realize the importance of staying close and connected to the food production. It's a well-known fact that small farms play a vital role in preserving biodiversity. By cultivating a diverse range of crops and often cultivating and preserving traditional seed varieties, these farms contribute to the resilience of ecosystems. There used to be a lot more small farms in the United States than there are today. In 1935, the average farm was about 150 acres, and there was about 6.8 million of them spread across the country. That's about one farm for every 19 people. Today in America, the farms are bigger and fewer. In 2022, there was just one farm for every 167 people in the country, and the average size was only about 446 acres.
Alright, this is a special time with me and my brother. Just doing things that we absolutely love to do. And you guys, as long as there are people like us, don't worry, there's going to be enough bread out there.
For all of you kids who are thinking about becoming farmers, here are a few reasons why you should. For one, farms are great educational hubs. Small farms offer stronger economic resilience. They help preserve country's cultural heritage and build community connections. And some of my favorites are promoting sustainable practices and preserving the biodiversity.
All right, we're gonna crank things up and get the professional to help. Let's do this, Marco. See, guys, some young men play with expensive cars, with Porsches and Ferraris and stuff like that. But the real men play with the toys like this. This is what I like to see young men do. This is amazing, and I hope more of you would entertain the opportunity to embrace lifestyle like this.
I hope that in the future we can rethink the whole concept about the farming and get more young people engaged in this particular profession, because the food production will forever remain a crucial component of the human society. Besides water and air, this is the next most important resource on Earth. So to all of you young viewers, just think about it. Farming might be a way to go.
Work in the field is also a great opportunity just to reconnect with your family. So spending a last hour in a combine and with my nephew, we got up on so many important things. So doing the important work, and you also spending time just sharing things and just reconnecting.
During the communist years of former Yugoslavia, farming was not a very lucrative business. But today, with the free market, farming is gaining its rightful position once again. Look at this blessing and wealth. It's more precious than gold.
My brother just started harvesting wheat, and the first load have just arrived. This is quite amazing.
Most of the wheat produced will be sold. However, a portion of it will be saved to feed the animals and also to keep it for the flour throughout the year. How many of you out there know what it feels like to walk in a freshly harvested warm wheat? I was asking my nephew how was the wheat this year, and he said it's still a bit moist. So the next step would be to spread it out and make sure that it dries properly. This year's harvest was plentiful, but despite the abundance, each grain is treated with utmost respect. My nephew Marco is spreading the wheat thin to make sure that it dries properly to prevent mold growth. Whatever tractor can do will need to be done by hand. which is just another benefit to being a farmer because all this physical work is good for you.
This is a special time of the year when you get to bring in all your hard work home. And I'm gonna tell you, it smells good and it feels good because this just came from the field and it's still really warm and it's full of sunshine. Regarding farming, you all know where I stand. I believe that a lot of young people should embrace this way of life. And I am extremely proud of my nephew Marco. He, despite all the opportunities that he had with his career, has decided to stay on a family farm and to continue tradition of farming. So thank you for doing that. I'm really proud of you because you're one of the rare young men who has embraced this life. And I wish more young people will follow his footsteps. Thank you for that. And now I better get busy and help you out.
With this done, we are off to get the second load of wheat. The next batch is going to the market to be sold. On average, Serbia produces between 3.6 to 4 million tons of wheat each year, making it the largest agricultural market in the Western Balkans. It's also a global leader in the production of a non-GMO corn and raspberries. Another field is done, and now we're going to make a decision where to move the equipment next. I enjoyed watching my brother and his son work as a team, and it was really nice to listen to them make decisions about which field do they go to next and to evaluate the state of their equipment. My charity's main mission is reconnecting families and communities, and farming appears a perfect way to do both. We are on the way to a nearby town to sell the rest of the wheat. First, we are going on a scale to get the wheat measured. Each batch will need to be inspected for the quality and for the moisture level. And this little gadget does exactly that. The numbers are acceptable. Wheat is good and can be sold.
Gornja granica, dobro. Solidno. Da bude ispod 60, to je baš loše.
This is the last field we'll harvest today, and as you can see, not every field bears the same amount of wheat. This field's yield is a lot less. Not each farmer tends to his land equally. To produce a good and abundant wheat fields, the land needs to be treated properly throughout the year. Turning the crop and proper fertilization are just some of the ways that can help the soil yield more. This is the last parcel for the day, so all that's left now is to clean the equipment. My brother is very particular about this part, and this is something that he has passed on to his son. He puts a great importance of maintaining and cleaning his equipment. He has passed this expectation on to his son Marco. So you can often see both Marco and my brother looking pretty messy, but their equipment is always in a pristine state. Okay kids, are you ready to go to the mill with me to see how flour is made? This batch of wheat will be turned into a flour, and let me show you how that's done. First, the wheat goes through a grinding machine, like this one. From there, broken wheat particles are further separated by their shape and their weight.
Odvaja pljevu, ovo je sama pljeva, ne. Odvoji da bi čista predstava. Ovdje pogrizevi. Da, gri.
This machine here is basically a huge sifter, and what it does is separates the crushed wheat particles into the wheat bran, a whole wheat flour, regular white flour, cake flour, and all sorts of shapes and sizes of cream of wheat.
Ovdje ide mekinje izlazi. Ovdje ide grid. Ovdje je grid. Ovdje je brašno. Ovamo je brašno.
All this equipment is powered by electricity, but in old times, small stone mills were powered by the local rivers. While the milling process has changed, it's still very encouraging to have a small mill in your village where you can take your homegrown wheat and turn that into a flour. This flour does not go through any further processing. It's not bleached, and it goes straight from the grain to packaging and consumption. I wonder if this is one of the reasons why European countries have less gut issues than we do in America. By growing various wheat varieties and milling locally, small producers help diversify the food supply. This can reduce dependency on large-scale industrial farming and importation. I'm back in States, and the next step would be to show you how to make a good homemade bread. And I'm going to use the recipe for traditional Christmas Serbian bread, which my mom and my grandma used to make around holidays. This is a simple dough which is stretched and layered, and butter or olive oil is applied in between layers, and then the bread is folded. During the Christmas time, in between these layers, different things will be placed, like a coin, maybe a piece of bean, piece of corn, wheat, cheese, a piece of wood, and all kinds of things that associate prosperity of the home throughout the year. And then family members, as they break the bread for Christmas, everybody would get a different part. Now, today we're going to do the same steps with the exception of putting these things inside the bread. So I'm just going to show you how the bread is made, and I think this is a proper way to celebrate this episode, to celebrate the harvest, and to kind of summarize everything that we have done through this episode. Going to fields, harvesting, and then turning the wheat into a flour. Now we're gonna make a bread, and I hope you guys are gonna enjoy it and have fun as much as I have fun every time I make this particular type of bread. So to start, I'm gonna go with a cup of lukewarm water and about 2 teaspoons of a dry active yeast. We're gonna let this activate while we prepare our flour. I don't have a specific measurements, but there's about 6 cups of flour in here, and I'm using maybe about 1.5 tablespoons of salt. We'll add activated yeast, and then we will slowly add some lukewarm water as we create our dough. The goal here is to create soft but manageable dough, so add the water and flour as needed. So once you have your dough ready, we're just going to put a little more flour around and let it sit for maybe 10-15 minutes or until it starts to rise. And then I'm going to come back to it and I'm going to show you what we do next. And since we are having a hot day today, I'm gonna leave the dough outside while I go and visit our garden. As mentioned at the beginning of this episode, living close to nature is deeply rooted in a Slavic culture. And perhaps that's just one of the reasons why our small garden just got bigger this spring. I would love to convince everyone to start gardening because few pleasures in life are as sweet as picking your own produce. Okay, now the dough had a chance to rest. As you can see, it's already starting to rise. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to work on it a little bit more. It looks really good. As my mom would used to say, the more time and effort you invest in working on your dough, the better it will turn out. For our next step, we're gonna need a tablecloth and we're gonna sprinkle some flour on it because we'll continue to work with our dough on the tablecloth. So this next step is very important because now that dough is resting, as it rests, it will loosen up, which will later allow us to stretch it. So depending on the temperature, this can take anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes, but you will know the dough is ready once you pull it like this and the dough starts stretching. I'm going to keep on stretching it, but not as thin as I would normally work with the filter. This would be a great project to do together as a family. Before we start folding the bread, it's important to put some oil in between the layers. So you can use olive oil, butter, or like my mom, you can use lard. You can have fun by picking up the shape and size in which you want to fold it. But in any case, before you fold it, make sure that you apply some more oil or butter in between the layers. A little oil in a baking pan, we're just gonna set it in here. And as you can see, you can freely work with it. You can just adjust it to the shape and size of the dish in which it will be baked. A little bit more oil on top, and then we'll let it sit for another 15 to 20 minutes or until it rises once again. A bread like this, or česnica as we call it in Serbian, is delicious on its own. But today we're gonna serve it with a bowl of a Serbian traditional bean soup. On the side, we'll serve the virgin coleslaw, as I like to call Serbian kupus salata. The bread is ready and it took only about 45 minutes on 350 degrees. This is the best part, so let's see how did we do. Soft layers inside and nice and crunchy outside. This is exactly what we want. Because of the soft dough and the olive oil that we applied between the layers, this bread is very, very moist. And as you can see, it's also very flaky on the outside. Simply delicious. So it's time to take a break and enjoy it. It was my great pleasure to take you to my hometown and to share its unique way of life. One of our program's missions is to broaden our horizons and to create a positive environment where we can learn from and be inspired by different people, cultures, and places. As we increasingly adopt modern ways of life and confront associated challenges, particularly those affecting both human health and the environment, embracing simpler, more natural lifestyles becomes more important than ever. The wonderful thing is that each one of us has the power to actively drive positive change, ensuring that modern technology, humanity, and nature continue to progress and enhance our experience and future. We owe much to the earth for continually providing us with food. My hope is that future generations will improve their methods of working with the land without polluting or disrupting the natural balance of our planet. As we conclude this episode today, I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude to farmers everywhere. We should never forget that it is farmers who infuse the world with the energy that fosters human potential and brilliance. Without the food they produce, none of that would be possible. This program was brought to you by VLADA'S Seeds of Life, a charitable organization whose mission is reconnecting families and communities while promoting more natural and healthier way of life. And by Winchester and Associates Insurance Services, protecting what you love. To find out more about their charitable work and to get involved, please visit us at VLADA'S.com. More information about our charity and additional videos on healthier and more natural way of living can be found on our YouTube channel under VLADA'S Place. We would love to hear your comments and the suggestions for the future episodes of Cooking and Kids. You can reach out to us via email under cookingandkids.info@gmail.com. Thank you very much for spending time with me today and for following me on my cooking and traveling adventures. Until the next time and next episode, please take good care of yourself and those around you.
See you later, guys.
Bye.